Alright, everyone. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. Sound should be working. I've tested multiple times. Everything should be working. I've tested it multiple times. You know.
I hear you.
Oh, good. I say these things, but it's the amount of, like, weird technical issues that we tend to have sometimes just makes it kind of funny. So. But anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, we're starting a bit. We're starting like a minute later than we should have because Tantus decided to take a bite of food.
I did. I decided to take a bite of food. You know, I was out and about a lot of today, and I had a little leftovers from lunch, and I decided that I was going to nom on them during our time here because maybe that'll be also my dinner, and I won't have to make anything else. I don't know. I might be hungry afterwards. I'll see if I have enough. But we got a big news thing today. If you can see the giant docket which has popped up in here. Yeah, there was a lot that happened this week. We'll talk about.
A giant block of docket. A blocket, if you will.
Yeah. So, strap in. That's what we're going to be talking about today. It's just going to be one of those news weeks. So hopefully we can enjoy it. But, yeah. And of course, thank you, Worm, for, as usual, joining me. How was your week? How would you classify your week this week?
I'm kind of burnt out at work, and it really sucks. I may want to, schedule a vacation soon.
I understand these facts, or feelings. I've been there in places, so I get that feeling. My week just ended up being busy in a lot of different ways, and what little free time I had, I have to admit I got distracted during the little free time I did have to do other things that I should have been doing. So it was that kind of thing,
So you haven't been preparing for the game on Wednesday?
I have done a very little bit of it. I was going to actually message people this evening and be like, hey, we're going another week. I'll need it. I did not have I stayed up last night making sure all these, everything was set up for today for Discussing Tabletop, because I wasn't going to have a lot of time today.
I thought it was very interesting that you let us know the docket this morning rather than, a minute or two before.
Sometimes I'm very bad. I try not to be, but yes. Anyway, why don't we dive into the news, and then we can kind of move from there into our discussions, because there's some interesting things and some deep things that we can dive into. And I guess the first thing is we have learned what the third Universes Beyond set will be for Magic. We had already known that it was going to be Final Fantasy, which they talked about. We already knew it was going to be Spider-Man. We're getting an Avatar The Last Airbender Magic, because, okay. Sure.
Sure.
Again, it's one of those things is, I'm in this weird spot for Universes Beyond that the ones that, at least feel they fit the themes of how Magic has always been, I don't mind. And this is a fanciful thing,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. I didn't mind that one. This one I don't mind. Final Fantasy skims that line, but it does have some elements that are similar to it, very magical, but it's can kind of be science fantasy sometimes to fantasy, so that kind of is that skim line. The Spider-Man, I'm like, but again, I think it's Universes Beyond is just this weird thing that I feel like it Fortnites a little too much sometimes.
At the very least, Spider-Man is known for jumping universes.
True. That is very true. So, that actually helps. I think it's just, this is cool and all, but I really would like, them to focus on their, in-universe stuff a little bit more, since already, they've jumped over the next set that's actually an inter-universe set, which is a really cool one. That's a sequel to, it's a revisit to a plane that was very popular a decade ago. So, hey, we're revisiting it. Is anyone talking about it? No, we're talking about Final Fantasy. We're talking about, Avatar. I don't know. It just, okay. I don't know. We'll see where Magic goes. I'm a big fan of it still, but, it's kind of, working on that. Anyway, but, so cool. Avatar. So, I guess that's the first thing here. We don't know much about it, so we'll keep it simple there. On the D&D side of things, though, hey, I guess the beta of Sigil is out. So Sigil is their 3D VTT that Wizards have been working on.
Oh yeah, that one. That one that's actually like more like a game.
Yeah. So, they do have, I guess, like a beta out for people to try out. I personally didn't have time to do anything like that or looking to sign up for it. I think Momo talked about getting a code, so we'll have to talk to them about like if they have a chance to check out what Sigil is doing. But it's made to integrate with D&D Beyond. It's basically, again, it could fill an interesting niche because from the looks of this is a 3D VTT with some kind of neat elements. How video gamey will it be? How VTT-ish will it be? You know, how will it do the job we want it to do as a VTT? Will it be too video gamey? I don't know. We don't see. We haven't seen a lot yet. Like from some certain screenshots and it being out now, we don't know.
I mean, honestly, the idea of just like a video game based VTT is something that I'm surprised we haven't gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Like something like that. This is, I mean, the problem is you basically have to sell all of the assets. But it would be like the top end tier, in my opinion, if you were to do it.
Yeah. It's that thing that how many of these like miniatures will be provided? Because the thing is, in a traditional VTT, we can bring in our own images a lot. Foundry, Roll20, those are the two I'm now experienced with. I can bring in images to use for the tokens and make them look, or like make tokens, or make them look like tokens. Just like Foundry can do the token thing, but I can also make tokens in various token creations where it makes like circle and stuff like that. But nonetheless, that means the images in a lot of those more traditional like 2D ones are controlled by us to a degree.
Yeah.
This we're reliant on Sigil and Wizards for. How many are they going to provide for just that part of it? How much it's going to cost? Like, there's so many questions I have.
Honestly, what I find... So as weird as it sounds, there are a lot of 3D assets. If you allow for importing of rigged 3D assets, you could actually have an interesting thing. The issue is those are very hit or miss.
Okay.
I mean, like, actually, Tabletop Sim. If you remember, like, the D&D board game we were playing, the Wrath of Ashardalon.
Yeah.
How hit or miss those little, like, things are. Those are... What that basically uses are not, like, things that... Not things that are tied to like Tabletop Sim, but they're basically, as far as I'm aware, using free 3D assets, which is why you can tell they're very hit or miss. Like those weird little mimic monsters, those things are really like well animated and done. But then like you know you got others which are like whatever.
And, yeah, definitely. And I think that's the thing here is the question will be, will you be able to upload your own things like that? And if not, because it is easier, I don't necessarily mind when you have things like packets of tokens or objects sold. But what's the price point? Like I bought a few things in the Roll20 store to make things easier for like building stuff, for making certain tokens for creatures that kind of like do generic tokens very quickly and stuff like that, because that helps out in a lot of ways. They are shortcuts for a lot of work, for your work. So the question is then, I have a lot of questions. Okay, I have a lot of questions still, and I don't know if they've answered with their like press junket here, which I should
I mean, you can just download it and play it right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess this like to find out how many assets it has. So we might have to either look into it or ask someone who's checked it out to see that. But I mean, in the future, then figuring out all the assets and stuff would probably be good. And here's the article that I was talking about. But anyway.
Yeah, you can do it. See, the thing is, I think you have to just, like, start a trial on D&D Beyond, which means, you know, you have to put in credit card information and then cancel it on time. Oh, wait, no. Base game master. Okay, no, never mind. You can play it. You just don't get... This is... Okay. I mean, sure. You can get little minis. You can get, mini slots. You can get mini outfits. You can get... you know, you can't host multiplayer rooms unless you pay, so at least the GM has to pay.
So it does have a miniature builder. I'm guessing that's going to be similar to,
Probably, Hero Forge.
Yeah, what Hero Forge has. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So... But I guess in this case, rather than just build it for Hero Forge to print something out, this is building it and using it in Sigil. So that's cool, at least, that they do have a miniature builder in the system.
Yeah.
Which I get for player characters, at least. So, I mean, there's some interesting things there today. I want to look into it more, you know. Have we had a 3D VTT before? Or is this the first? I'm sure there has been others that have been 3D, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head. At least, I haven't heard of any that were successful to a large degree.
I know I'm thinking of one, but I don't know if it's a, what is that VTT called? It's on Steam.
Oh. We've talked about a few that have ended up on Steam. Cannot think of any off the top of my head.
I'm just trying to look.
Fine. Give me an excuse to, like, chew on something.
Honestly, more than I thought. Apparently, there's a whole VTT section on category on Steam, and there's a group that lists them all. There's actually a few, apparently.
But again, like, I'm curious as to how successful they've all been, because I really haven't heard about any of them. But I guess it's sort of like, they might be niche. Like, as much as Sigil might have some popularity, it is in fact niche, because it's just going to be D&D, theoretically.
Yeah.
It's just that they're banking on D&D's popularity to make it be able to work. It's sort of like, that's why, like, we talk about, you know, Alchemy, Foundry, we're getting one of them in there, Roll20, and all the other big ones, because they can do multiple ones, and yes, they're 2D, but they're the big ones because, hey, you want a game, you might be able to have it on. Even if it's not D&D. So yeah, does look like you need... Right now, it looks like having a better subscription with D&D Beyond gives you access to more stuff in there, so... Interesting. But I guess we'll have to test out and see what Sigil looks like, or talk to someone, maybe if,
yeah.
Nick and Momo have a chance to check it out or something.
Maybe it's under new...
Minimum install requirements. I feel like I have those.
Probably.
Want my lemons out from my cup of tea to put in my other tea? It's going to be messy. Fortunately,
this is what I get for not having organized my Steam games in quite a while.
I don't think I really organized my Steam games except alphabetically. I'm bad that way.
Well, last time I did it was over 2 years ago before I got a job, so...
Well, it's like, also I've got a lot of, like, random Steam games that I've picked up just because I've had, like, a humble subscription for, like, 4 years now.
I need to go through and import a lot of those, yeah.
Yeah. Just, like, organizing them definitely would be a good thing to be like, these are games I maybe could play. These are games I definitely will play. These are games that I'm going to try. these are games that look interesting, and these are games that, like, under the right circumstances, I might play. It's definitely that last quarter. There are things that I get from Humble that I'm like, I'm probably not going to play this, but I can't say never. You know, like a couple like racing games. I'm not a big racing game person, but if someone like someone wanted to try out some racing games with me, like, suggest it or something, you know, like, told me to get in, try it or something, I might. I play racing.
Oh wait, I think it's Allspire. I think we literally talked about it in our last week.
Okay.
And I think I said Allspire and in the last week, and I think I was thinking of another one, which is Conclave. So I might have actually, because I think I said some bad things about it. I'm like, yeah, but because it wasn't even at this point yet, but it was still in development. Allspire, I think, is the one that is still a thing.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it does seem like we'll have to either have a chance to look at it, or talk to someone, or hear from someone that's had a chance to look at Sigil to get a good idea of what's going on with it. Just that unfortunate thing that it's out now, so if you want to check it out yourself, hey, they have you can do it. You know, you can at least check out the basics, I think. If you just have
okay.
DVD knowledge.
Yeah, Allspire is definitely it's a VTT. I don't know how you would, That one, this one's actually better. I don't know how this works though with certain things, but you know.
Okay.
Anyway, I just opened it. I have literally opened it like once before, so.
Gotcha. Anyway, cool. So there's other ones, just maybe
still
not
in the works though, and there's a bunch of other ones still in the works and stuff.
Gotcha. So it's not something that people haven't thought about. It's just that it's more directions.
Yeah, Allspire is early access. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shall we discuss the Unearthed Arcana that came out this week?
Oh.
Because one did, and it's the Artificer.
Oh yeah. That's a 404 page.
Yes, because I accidentally pressed the button. I accidentally put a 9 in there. I realized that as soon as I pressed enter. Damn it. It's I was clicking. I was typing something somewhere else and accidentally had that clicked in. So anyway, hey, the Artificer, the thing that they said they would be bringing back for 5.5. Hey, we got an Unearthed Arcana at least. This is probably okay.
Wait, we already had. This is the second one then, because they already did do one.
Did they? Oh, this is updates. It says it appears again with some updates since last appearance in Unearthed Arcana, and they're including a new subclass, the Cartographer, some extra magical options, and Dragon Mark feats that they had Eberron before. They're bringing back in. Okay, I forgot that they had showed that before.
Okay, I might need to play a cartographer. I love mapping, and I love the idea of mapping, even though, like, being someone who makes maps in a game is not very exciting, unless you have a really good GM, which Joe is not. Sorry. Anyway,
Joe's fine. He's just not great.
I know. I'm more joking because, like, my character likes maps and stuff, but I feel like literally that hasn't come up.
There's a lot of stuff that I know will not come up in a Joe game. Having experienced the way he does things, though sometimes it can be.
He's basically I wouldn't say what he does is a railroad as much as it is a hallway. Mm-hmm. You can walk back and forth along the sideways of the hallway, but you still can't, you still can't go anywhere but forwards and backwards.
Mm-hmm. So since we last saw it in Unearthed Arcana, they changed the magical tinkering to Tinkerer's Magic, they call it. It gives you mending and items created with the feature lasts until you finish a long rest. I don't remember how it did before, 100%. They updated the replicate magical item, new table, wands and weapons crafted by spellcasting focus. The magic item Tinker allows you to recharge magic items by expending spell slots and transforming one magic item into a different item. And the Soul of Artifice now lets you disintegrate any number of items to increase the number of regained hit points for more reliable use of Flash of Genius. What?
Sorry, what are you looking at right now?
The updates to Basic Artificer. Because
okay.
they listed here, the updates. They redid the tinkering ability, they redid the replicate magic item to a degree, and the magic item tinkerer, and the 20 level thing works a little different. Okay.
Oh yeah, Soul of Artifice was like a last resort thing, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
level 20,
and it's
yeah.
It's
death,
slightly better, but it still kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you disintegrate any number of magic items you had created with the replicate magic item, and you gain 20 hit points equal to the number times the number of items.
Yeah, so before it was just 20 hit points, and you could only disintegrate one. That is better.
It still kind of sucks to do that, but I guess you created them yourself.
Yeah, at level 20, you're probably gonna have whatever, but you can get them back, so it kind of is fair for a cheat death kind of moment, and you can get back as much as what you need. Honestly, I think that's kind of fine.
And then I guess the Flash of Genius ability, if you use it and still fail, and you're at least 2 to 1 magic item, you don't use up your Flash of Genius. So just make sure you're at least a 2 to 1 magic item, because then if you Flash Genius doesn't work, you keep it. Cool. So again, some updates there to the basic. I don't have, because it's an Unearthed Arcana, and those are hard to come by, and just looking at a book. I don't have that in front of me right now to tell you what the major changes are.
Like I said, the Soul of Artifice was just one. Let me see if I can remember by reading the.
Let me see if I can find the old Unearthed.
Here. Mending cantrip and items created with this feature last until you finish a long rest.
I was able to get to it quickly and efficiently, better than I thought I was. Let's see.
Magic item tinker has been expanded to allow you to recharge magic items by expending spell slots and that's kind of neat.
Okay, so the old magic tinkering from the previous Unearthed Arcana from last year was just create some objects that vanish in 1 hour, and now it basically allows you to create some objects that last until you make a
so basically duration increase. So instead of until you finish a long rest, so basically it's kind of like Pathfinder's until your next daily preparations.
Yeah, and they also gave you mending.
Yeah,
so I think that's definitely a good update, because that was kind of cool as an item, but it's probably not going to come up. The mending on its own probably will kind of come up.
Yep.
So replicate magic item, that's I guess change the list a little bit, and using the things as focuses, cool. And the magic item tinkerer was recharge magic. Yeah, let me look up that the soul while we were talking about. Yeah, just 20 hit points, and
I think I'm fairly certain that was just you can do it once. You can destroy one item to gain 20 hit points.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, and the bonus, the magical guidance from Soul of Artifice was something separate from the Flash of Genius. Okay. So it was just in a D6 to an ability check that's once per turn, and they changed it to using your Flash of Genius, which is adding a bonus equal to your intelligence modifier, and you keep it if you fail. And that's to saves or ability checks. I kind of do like that better, because it's sort of like...
you only get that at level 20, but...
Yeah, but instead of a D6 once per turn to a check, it's sort of like you are encouraged more to use your Flash of Geniuses, because if you even fail, you get that back. The D6 was, if it works anyway, it doesn't even matter. And that's interesting. It's fine. Paper. I'm just comparing these two just to see if we can make updates. So let's drain magic item. Expand replication. Oh, that was magic item just let you. So now instead it's like you can charge magic items and you can change one magic item to another. Okay, so that's okay. Kind of got a buff. Artificer kind of got a buff. So let's talk about Cartographer. Let's see here. It is indeed a navigator.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I didn't read through all of them yet, but the first one, Adventurer's Atlas, basically allows you to give yourself and several other people a mini, 1 plus your intelligence modifier people, a mini map, basically. You get a D4 to initiative rolls. Basically, you're kind of aware of, like, red dots around you, and positioning, you know where your allies are at all times, where the other people with the map are at all times. So it's literally like a mini map.
That can be very good, especially like something like blinds you or smoke shows up. You're like, oh, I still know where all my allies are.
Yep. And then level 3 scouting gadget. You can teleport. You can spend half your movement to teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 10 feet of yourself, which is probably more beneficial for elevation than it is for actual movement, because most creatures have 30 feet of movement. So if you can walk there,
I guess the big thing would be if you want to get out of a situation for like attacks of opportunity or something.
That's true too. Actually, you can get out of threatened range.
Yeah.
And then also gives you radar, which is you can cast Fairy Fire without expending a spell slot a number of times to equal to your modifier. I assume that's per day, but and you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. Yeah. So basically, again, it's very much like a mini map almost thing. Portal jump as a bonus. Yeah. As a bonus action, you teleport up to 60 feet on occupied space. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Yeah, so that's basically like you just get a few. You basically get a few. What is that called? I want to say my brain keeps going. Misty Step. Thank you, brain. Yeah. Finally.
It's kind of Misty Steppy, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you cannot use up one of your uses of it if you use it next to someone that has a map.
One of your maps.
That maps. Yeah. You could, like, hey, I'm going to sacrifice your map so I can teleport you there for free as an extra. That's not bad. Flash of Genius.
So ingenious movement. When you use your Flash of Genius, your willing creature of your choice you can see within 30 feet of yourself can teleport up to 30 feet to an occupied space. You can use this as part of that same reaction.
That's pretty cool use of Flash of Genius, kind of like giving you a teleport.
Yeah, your Adventurer's Atlas improves gaining the following benefits: Safe Haven when the map holder. Adventurer's Atlas. Oh, yeah, okay, so the thing you get at level 3. So basically you get these benefits as well. Mm-hmm. When the map holder is reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, that creature can destroy its map. The creature is then teleported to an occupied space within 5 feet of you or another map holder of its choice and is stable. So basically, you can use it to get your friends out of trouble.
Yeah. So if your friend goes down,
yourself too.
Yeah, or yourself, it can be moved. It's here.
Yeah. Unerring Path. If you are one of the map holders for your Adventurer's Atlas, you can cast the Find Path without expending a spell slot, without preparing the spell, and without needing spell components. Cool. Once you use this feature, you can use it for a long rest. I don't know what that Find the Path does.
I would have to look at that too. And then, wow.
And when at least one map is created with your Adventurer's Atlas still exists, taking damage can't cause you to lose concentration on your Artifice spells. That is broken, and I want it.
That is actually really good. It's sort of like, are you holding on to one of my maps? Then I cannot lose concentration. I mean, it's very broken, but it's a 15th level ability. So, like, you're
15th level ability, and concentration is stupid anyway, and I hate it, so I'm not...
Mm-hmm. So, we got one new spell, which is Mongrel Servant. a couple new magic items.
Yeah, at that point you only have 4th level spells anyway, but it's still useful.
Yeah, and then of course the Dragon Mark feats, which I didn't really use or know a lot about Dragon Mark feats from before, so I can't tell you how these compare to the old ones.
The whole thing about them is on their own they look good, and it's like, oh, why wouldn't you just get these? The problem is, the problem with the Dragon Marks is that, like, there's significant social stuff going on in Eberron related to them, and you aren't even, and within Eberron, unless you are part of one of these noble houses, you can't have one of these marks. But sometimes people just get these marks and they just like appear with one, and then at that point you can like apply for the house or something. But it's like there's so much beholden to it in weird ways, and it's like, so it's a whole thing. So it's useful, but if you're not using it in an Eberron campaign, it's kind of like they might feel a little powerful. But
gotcha. It's they are made okay. So actually, they do have prerequisite Eberron campaign.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
That was not in the. They did not have that before.
They recognize that yes, these are powerful. Should put them in Eberron, where there are things that limit you for using, or there's repercussions for having them. You know, there's reason.
Like, I mean, you always have detect magic and detect poison and disease spells prepared. You can cast spells each once without a spell slot, and you can regain the ability to cast it when you finish a long rest. You can cast these spells using any spell slot you have. And then you choose, when you choose your feat, what ability modifier you use. When you reach character level 3, you also have see invisibility spell prepared and can cast it in the same way. This is all one Dragon Mark. Oh, also, when you make a Wisdom, Insight, or Perception check, you can roll a d4 and add the number to the ability check. In addition, if you have the spellcasting pack magic feature, the spell of the mark detection adds these to your spell list. That's a lot for one feat.
Yeah,
even among 5.5.
Yep. You have to be an Eberron, you can't have another Dragon Mark. And then they do have, like, general... It's kind of crazy, because they have general feats that, looking at them, they are just basically enhancements to your already Dragon Mark feats you take. Like, Greater Mark of Detection, which, increases the deductive intuition to D6 instead of D4, and allows you to cast See Invisibility also in there, apparently. So, it's just like, you have one, you just improve it.
Yeah. No, Dragon Marks are supposed to be powerful, but yeah, they're also supposed to be limited socially in the game, which is why, like, you have this, you have to join. You are someone who were born with a Dragon Mark, because most people, I think, get the Dragon Marks from heritage, which is why, and if you, but sometimes people can just be born with one, and then, I might be misremembering it slightly, but it's something along those lines. And so it's just like,
look,
you're beholden to the culture.
I really don't remember. I read a little bit of the stuff on Eberron setting back in 3rd edition. But we never played with it, so I didn't dive deep into it. So I know a little bit about Eberron. I know very little about Eberron,
Yeah.
I really should dive into it a little bit more, because this is a really interesting idea for a setting.
Eberron is interesting. Actually, we should look into it more. If I have the book, I could just read it. Yeah, because, honestly, it's kind of like the setting I kind of enjoy, which is kind of like magic to the point of where it's kind of almost technology.
That's like the magic trains and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why in the new Ravenloft, there's the Ghost Train, which is from Eberron, which is it's a cool idea. I'm like, oh man, you got a Ghost Train? You can use Eberron to give us that? Ah. Anyway. So they have a bunch of feats there. They're all related to Dragon Marks, too. So that's definitely, if you're playing in Eberron, you're using that.
Yep.
If you want to check out the updated Artificer and the Cartographer, the Cartographer looks really cool. It looks great. So, here, I think there's a link to the Blue Sky post on here, but I'll link the article I found on this first. You can click on the thing there to go to the Blue Sky post. So, we are getting one other interesting thing. We're getting another magic...
Oh, yeah, no, okay, I just want to say, the Aberrant Dragon Mark, I just noticed there's an Aberrant Dragon Mark, which is the idea of, you just have a Dragon Mark that's, unrelated to other ones.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, we've gotten D&D crossover stuff with Magic before. You know, they've visited various planes with books or little supplemental materials. The new Dungeons & Dragons one is going to be the Lorwyn Shadowmoor, which is good because that was a set that's coming out, but it's a set that was going to come out this year that because of Universes Beyond has been pushed to next year, I think. So I'm curious as to when this book is going to come out. Is it going to be before the set comes out where we're revisiting this plane? It's another plane that, like, when I talk about the Takir, Lorwyn Shadowmoor, it's a kind of popular plane, hasn't been revisited in a long time. So I'm interested to see, like, hey, what's going to happen to the revisit? What's going to happen with this D&D crossover? There's some, it's very much like, warring factions between the various species kind of thing. That's the kind of idea of Lorwyn has always kind of been, is all the different species have their territories, don't really get along very well. But it also had this, like, weird curse for a while where it would change from, like, everything would inverse. So it was like eternal day, and it would inverse to eternal night.
Is this where that, like, hated day-night mechanic comes from?
No, that was a different spot. This is before then. Before they did some crap like this. Because they just had actually different sets for like, Lorwyn and then Shadowmoor. But then at the end of the storyline of the block, the two of them merged together, so now it's, like, back to normal, and the curse is gone, so now it actually has, like, day and night, like a normal place, instead of eternal day or eternal night. That changes randomly. And only, like, 1% of the population actually remembers when it changes, because it just shifts everything. It was a kind of an interesting idea.
It says that it changes every 300 years, right, in this article.
Ah, it was 300 years. I couldn't remember.
It's not random, it's 300 years, so it's a cycle, but people...
I thought there was an event that took place that, I guess it's about every 300 years the event takes place.
Yeah, it might not be exactly 300, but it's probably,
Yeah.
Honestly, this sounds like a cool thing. I'm starting to wonder, and I would think it'd be cool if they do this, but honestly, that would be a smart thing, meaning they're probably not going to. If like, basically D&D took over, like the D&D side of Wizards of the Coast took over, like, the lore for, I mean, they got rid of all their good lore creators and stuff, but whatever. You know, but, like, they focused on, like, creating the lore for it and, like, actually making books and almost made it their own second game. You know, like, a lot of, you know, like, how, like, you know...
It's the
like,
thing that,
Traveler
like...
has its, you know, Traveler 5000 BC, and then how... I'm trying to think of, like... There's different versions of, you know, there's Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf. Like, you could have, like, different things. They could even, you know, maybe actually expand their existing IPs instead of focusing on one at a time. You know, like, they could do a lot.
It's the thing that, like, when it comes to Wizards and their stuff, it's especially as of late, it's that kind of complaint I had, which I've kind of been agreeing to some people that kind of thing is, like, we rarely get a good, this is a view into our IP I visited. You know, like, so that's the question is, how will they do Lorwyn when they revisit Lorwyn in the set? How, you know, will they respect the old lore? Or is this book going to respect it more, the lore they built upon and like expand upon it? You know, like, I don't mind you, like, expanding upon things and making things new and interesting. It just has to be not like cowboys or race car sets or detective sets, because those are just, I think Clarion College, the professor there, quoted best, it's just magic with a hat on. You know, it's everybody got a detective hat, everybody got a cowboy hat, everybody got a race car helmet, you know, and it's kind of silly. They keep doing it, it's very silly. Yeah. And it's not something I think, like, you know, regardless of the card mechanics and playable, like, the flavor, which a lot of people that play Magic like it, like, you know, even people that are playing the game for the actual game, tend to have, like, a little bit of, like, of the flavor. It kind of is silly.
Yeah.
So, I'm glad they're doing it, but yeah, I'd rather, you know, they do better things for the actual Magic. It's cool. But, so yeah. If you're a fan of those planes, we're revisiting them. I thought there was some neat stuff in it, so hey. Yeah. Oh, I didn't switch over to the... Anyway, I guess we can talk about our WizKids doing an interesting product, and that is Mr. Beholder. It is indeed. Well, that's the wrong link.
Yeah, he just reposted the same one.
Why didn't... oh, I see what happened. Accidentally pasted there the old thing I copied and not this new address. Select this address. Copy. Paste. There we go. Anyway, it basically WizKids is doing a Mr. Potato Head except spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny. You know, it's weird. This is I don't know what to think about this though. Mr. Potato Head is Hasbro owned, so it makes sense that they could do it. But
yeah.
So now you can mix and match your weird beholder with its abilities all you want.
You want to know the fun thing about Mr. Potato Head? Did you know that there was that originally there wasn't like a base? Instead, the idea was they just sold you the parts, and you were supposed to actually jam them into potatoes.
It makes sense. It makes interesting sense.
Yeah.
It's a little funny and weird, but it does make sense. This is just one of those things that I'm like, this is an interesting thing to think of, but it is just kind of weird, too.
Yeah.
So... I'm actually trying to put my fingers in the dipping sauce when I was trying to move the sauce container over. I missed it. Because I was not looking correctly. I missed the edge. So there you go. An interesting product that maybe you want, maybe you don't. Mr. Potato Head for a beholder. And then I don't know if we talked about this one in particular, but we were talking about updates for Neverwinter Nights a little while ago. And so there is officially a DLC for Neverwinter Nights. The game, I think this came
up.
I think we were talking about it coming out because its official release on Steam was this week. Or last week. It was on the 21st.
Yeah, we did talk about it coming out, and we did. I remember this.
So, Doom of Icewind Dale is now available. It is $10. But again, people made a new DLC for a game that people have liked for a long time. It's the Enhanced Edition, so I'm not against the price point anyway, because it's supposed to be a big adding in a bunch of features and abilities and stuff, so...
Yeah. I mean, why not, honestly?
Hey, I think I own the Enhanced Edition. I may, I might have to play through.
Neverwinter Nights. Who makes it?
The original maker of Neverwinter Nights? Oh, the current team seems to be Creative Team Limited or Beamdog. It says this is the developer publisher.
BioWare made the original.
That's right, BioWare. That's right. I don't know who made the Enhanced Edition. Winter Nights Enhanced Edition. Who produced you? It was Beamdog. I guess the people that have still been working on it.
Yeah. We did talk about them last time. Yeah, I remember now.
So they're the ones that made the Enhanced Edition back in 2018, and so I guess with their success in that, they've been making things like the new DLC and updates and stuff. We were talking about them updating it, and so now this is a full-on DLC for it. I guess it's still technically 3rd / maybe 3.5-ish rules. I don't think they would have updated it from there.
Okay, and Embracer Group owns Beamdog.
Okay, so is the video game section just still Embracer? Because Embracer broke up, I remember, but I don't know.
did. I think it's Asper Media, because it says basically when I found it, it says, oh no, wait, no, Eternal Sort of former Bioware, so Idea Spark Labs, trade name Beamdog, Canada. Let me see. Company type subsidiary of who? I saw parent Asper, yeah, who is also a subsidiary of Saber Interactive, who is a subsidiary of Embracer Group.
Yes. I mean, it's linked to the page. I'll link the page.
Yeah. So gotta love those chains.
The chains of companies. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I guess Embracer Group is still okay. Embracer Group is like Embracer Group is like a rename. So I think this version of Embracer Group is kept the name.
Yeah, it's split into 3, and one of them kept the name, but I can't remember which one kept what. You know, from like the stuff. So this is the one that kept the Embracer name, and now is gotcha. Cool. All right.
Yeah. So the video game side kept the that name.
All right. Mm-hmm. Well, check that out if you're interested. Neverwinter Nights was good. I haven't tried a lot of the enhanced edition, so I can't tell you how well that plays. But I did really enjoy the original back when it came out, so I could always recommend that. As long as you don't mind. There is always the clunkiness of 3.0, 3.5 rules, but it's also like in video game form, so it's a CRPG. If you like things like the Pathfinder games, you probably. Now, shall we talk about NPC Core that you have?
Yeah, so I very much like this. It's great. So I looked through it. It's really cool just that they have. Okay. Let me put it this way. There we go. So basically, this much of the book is just basically NPC stat blocks versus the rest. Yeah. And all of them are like. So, for example, you've got. Actually, okay. I want to find the one that I wanted to show off. There's like one that was like explorers. Oh yeah, okay, so first off, let's talk over... I love how much thought they put into this book. So they made a section called Devotee. So these are like people who follow religions. Such as Pilgrim of Irori? Callistra? Yeah, Penitent of Callistra. Abbot of Abadar, Acolyte of Iomade, and you might be going like, oh, why did they have to make it specific deities? Fear not! They have a section right after all of this talking about how to change them to different deities.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's like, swap as, you can customize an Acolyte, Zealot, Priest, or other NPC types with a deity to match another deity. Change the NPC's sanctification to match the new deity. Add the divine skill, higher skill modifier the PC has. You can optionally remove the old deity's divine skill. Change their weapon to a new deity's favored weapon. You can usually leave the weapon damage as is if the PC has multiple armor, etc., etc., etc.
So basically, they're giving an example of these types of religious followers to specific deities, and then they tell you, like, okay, if you really want to change it to any other deity, you now have these types of followers that, like, have certain types of abilities or way that they act and stuff, and you kind of get an idea. That's cool.
Yeah, and they give you an example for how to do that. There was another section that I thought was really cool, and this is what's so cool about it. I remember when I was talking about the core for or the monster manual for D&D, I was like, oh yeah, commoners, they just get advantage in a thing. That means, or the tradesmen or whatever. Yeah. It was a commoner. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then Paizo said, hold my beer.
I feel like that's the entire thing with this NPC core. It's just like Paizo's like. The thing is, they're probably developing this separately, but it does feel like that because Paizo thought it out more. That it is almost like a hold my beer situation.
Yeah. For example, like merchant, they get like a cool thing where it's like the merchant can use mercantile lore to recall knowledge about items, including determining their value. They can also attempt to identify magic items using mercantile lore, and can do so without first knowing whether the item is magical. Do you want to know why that's interesting?
Right.
It gives you a reason to hire them. This is not something players can do.
Oh, you're right. I didn't even think of it that way. It's that you could go to a merchant and be like, let's say, for whatever reason, because there can be situations where your team isn't really able to tell if something is magical very deeply or something. Like, maybe...
Your party has only fighters or something.
Yeah. Which, again, like...
Or only fighter type. I shouldn't say only fighters. Like a barbarian,
I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, but you can build those sort of teams. And I do think, like... Unlike Pathfinder 1e, Pathfinder 2e is a little bit more forgiving than 1e would be when it comes to these builds.
Yeah. The other option is also that you have a sorcerer as your magic user, and they don't prepare, identify or detect magic or on their spell list.
Yeah, they might not have taken this. Like, if you don't take identify or detect magic, which you don't need to, you don't have it. Or bard or something that, like, took a bunch of other abilities. It's like, I didn't take that. So yeah, there is reason and situations that you go to God and be like, what is this? What's magical? Is it valuable? And they can kind of take a look at it and be like, and they can tell you that. And that's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then here's another good one. Expedition leader. Why might you want to hire him? Well, he has on guard. When the expedition leader scouts, they grant the party +2 circumstance bonus to your initiative rolls.
Huh.
That basically means you can, if you hire this guy to be in your party and help you scout along, you get a +2 to initiative by him just traveling with you. And he's also the person doing the scouting job, so you don't have to have, someone else do it if you don't have a rogue.
It's like he'll probably tag off with you with like danger comes. He's like, hey guys, there's someone over here. You guys gotta fight it. You're the muscle. I'm just the guy checking things out. But still, that's good use.
Mountaineer as the professional climber. When climbing, the mountaineer can have up to 5 allies following the expert and grant a +3 circumstance bonus to athletics checks to climb. Like, it gives you reasons to hire these people.
Yes.
They all have an ability that's useful. And it was just the greatest thing I saw. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they do include, like, enemies. Like, there's a whole section. Like, probably one of their bigger sections is like, ne'er-do-wells. I forget what they called it. And those are obviously just meant to be enemies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're meant to be people that you're gonna like kind of go against, whether like it's more direct combat or not.
Yep. What's the other one? I was like, there's a few. Yeah, like something like I'm gonna be honest, he doesn't have much, but that's fair. Okay, that one doesn't either. Okay. The Downtrodden don't have a lot. Let's see. There was another one that I was thinking of. Oh yeah, there's just also a section called villains. There's like the roughneck groups, the criminals. I think that's what they called it. There's the criminal section and there's a villain section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, criminals would be your general ne'er-do-wells, which may or may not be opponents to your people, but they're probably gonna be doing bad stuff.
Yeah, and like if you hired that, you might be able to hire like a pickpocket for you, like that. Like if you wanted to actually hire them, like it gives them abilities, but it's like, I guess you could do that. If you don't have someone to pickpocket and you could probably hire a criminal. So they just go on and on. Adept, villain, not adept. Mystics, villains, artisans, explorers, gadgeteers, etc. Officials, so like people who have like Yeah. Also, it's kind of interesting because it's all like, there's like in some cases, like for example, the smith is. Let me go back to the smith. It's a 3rd level creature, but they have an ability for encounters involving smithing or other crafting tasks. The smith is a 6th level challenge. It's like if you had to like, do a smithing competition or something, or had to identify some kind of like smithing thing. He counts as 6th level. So,
it's basically in a circumstance where he has a huge advantage, he is much more difficult. It is very circumstantial and probably not like a normal combat thing, but certainly speaking, there can be situations where that would come up, and I like that they talk about that. That's funny, but also really neat. Like, because I guess you really could get into like some kind of competition with a smith or something, or a competition that requires the help of a smith or something.
Or, I mean, I as a GM would argue he can make up to 6th level items even though he's a 3rd level creature.
That's true. Oh, yeah. It's basically he can do something a little better than what his level would dictate. Yeah. Yep. Your average smith has some skills.
Yeah, it just keeps going and going. Scholars, let's see. Yeah, games. And then they get to the point, which is also cool, this section. Ancestry adjustment. So they just gave a bunch of stuff basically for humans.
Yeah.
But then they go in and basically say, okay, well, you have an elf. Replace human trait with elf, add elven language, change the speed to 30 feet if lower, add the following abilities. Low light vision. That's the only one listening for that. Halfling adjustment, change size to small. Replace human trait with halfling trait. Add the halfling language. Add the following abilities. Keen eye, halfling gain +2 circumstance bonus when using the seek action to find hidden or undetected creatures within 30 feet of the blah blah. Yeah, so Tengu, replace the human trait with Tengu trait. Add Tengu language. Add a beak strike if it deals damage equal to the creature's lowest melee strike and has a finesse trait. Add low light vision.
How many ancestry options do they have in there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So basically they have the core, the 2 core books.
Okay, so they have all like the common ancestries.
Yeah, Player Core and Player Core 2 is what they give you.
Okay, that's
honestly, but I'm gonna be honest, giving what was it, 20?
15,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15. Giving 15 examples is enough for you to figure out how to do it to everyone else. I'm going to be honest.
Yes.
And they also go through and give you some specific ones. So one, like, a dwarf smith is different than a smith. They have some abilities that are the same, but then they have some differences. So they give you some culture specific, basically, NPC classes.
Cool.
Such as the Goblin Chef. Otherwise inedible items into meals for others. They can provide food for any number of creatures without using subsist downtime activity as long as garbage is readily available. A non-goblin who eats the Goblin Chef food must attempt a DC 14 Fortitude save. On a failure, they suffer an upset stomach for 1 day. If they attempt to willingly ingest anything else during that period, they must first succeed a DC 4 flat check, or the action is disrupted.
That makes so much sense, and it's very silly. Oh, God. It's like, I can make that into something good. And I'm like, can you? The answer is no, you can't.
Yep. And then things like a Kobold Egg Guardian. It's like, they're the ones who protect the egg, So it's like, things that are specific to different races.
Yeah. They do give some, like, specific ancestry stuff, other than the general stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. It's something that, like, we talked about them doing something like this in 5th edition with the Monster Manual, and they don't. They
Also,
say, good luck, do it yourself, figure it out.
And for good measure, they add more animal companions and stuff in the back. Because why not just add another little thing? Yeah.
Why not? Just something else that's really neat, you know? Hey, also some animal companions. Man.
Paizo. You're the reason I'm now switching to probably do... I'd like to edit a little bit to have more bounded accuracy, but otherwise I'm probably going to do the Pathfinder 2e over D&D from now on.
I'm just pausing for the Firefighters from Pathfinder.
Yeah, that's the one downside, in my opinion, to Pathfinder, is that it doesn't have bounded accuracy. It's fine. It just means everything scales with you, which I just find dumb.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I both like and dislike that, because my experience with it, it's not necessarily bad, because, like, the difference in numbers doesn't usually go too much, but again, it does mean that, like, it starts... when you're, like, within 1 to 3 levels of something, it works pretty well, but as soon as you start getting beyond that, it kind of, like, starts having problems.
I mean... Yeah, but at least Pathfinder 2e fixes that problem by basically being like, you can only go plus or minus 4 levels. If you go lower, you don't get experience. If you go higher, good luck. Your GM's a dick.
Yeah. Which, again, that's good, because they're kind of like, you know, informing you, like, where you should be. You know, it's like, sure, I can fight a bunch of, like, lesser beings. I'm just not going to get anything out of it other than, like, you know, getting to the fun. You know?
Oh, I forgot to talk about that. Okay, something they added in this is a category called troops. Troops are basically swarms of medium or large creatures.
I was joking about that in Foundry, because I found something with that. But that's where we got it from? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Wait, do they already have it in Foundry? That'd be weird if they already have it in Foundry.
Well, I assume maybe they had something similar to that in the original NPC Codex book.
Oh, they had one before. Got it.
The NPC Core is like the core version of it, you know, with the remaster on.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find one that's kind of fun. Oh yeah, Phalanx Formation. It's a 6-level creature troop. You know, hurl javelins, throw a volley of spears. Each creature in a 10-foot burst within 30 feet of the troop takes 2d6 piercing damage. Yeah, so basically it's, you know, it's like they do a burst instead of a single attack. You know, because they're all throwing spears.
As much silly as it sounds, this kind of thing makes mass combat so much easier.
Yeah.
or like you're fighting an angry mob. It just counts as one creature. You know? God. There's just there's so many circumstances where this kind of, like, the idea of the troop monster just helps so much.
Yeah.
Oh.
They also have unique rules, because it says, okay, a large troop will take up 4 squares. However, it can occupy any 4 squares. So it actually isn't just a large troop isn't just a 2x2 square. You can make it a 1x4 line, an L, or anything. So basically they can, so there's actually that thing. They said, so...
A lot of neat stuff in that book. Really nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, here, actually, I just found the list of the sections. Artisans, courtiers, criminals, devotees, downtrodden, engineers, explorers, healers, laborers, martial artists, mavericks, mercenaries, military, mystics, officials, performers, primalists, scholars, seafarers, and villains. Those are the categories, and they have several in each.
Nice.
So I love this book. I love that it exists.
It does look a really nice book. It does seem like very nice.
Oh, I also just like this little bit in the beginning, which just shows a bunch of,
Yeah, pictures of characters. So, hey, it's a recommendation to check that out if you want to get some good NPCs for your Pathfinder 2 kits.
Honestly, if you want to get them for your 5e games, it's probably this might be a better source than just changing things around a bit.
Not wrong. Anyway, so we're getting a little bit more Pathfinder news. If we're going to switch on to our next topic here. In this case, we are getting a Pathfinder CRPG, but it's not Pathfinder, if that makes any sense. So what's going on is Streetlight Studios has announced a game called Moondrift Memory Prologue, and it's using Pathfinder 2e rules, but it's not necessarily going to be like a Pathfinder game. It's a CRPG using the Pathfinder rules as they are now. So it's Pathfinder compatible. So it's like...
Solasta.
What? Oh, Solasta does that?
Solasta uses 5e rules, but it's not set in any
right.
5e universe.
Yes, so it's basically Solasta. I forgot Solasta did that. Honestly, I did forget that they did that. I remember someone had done something like that before, I was going to say. But yeah, so it's basically like Solasta, but they're doing it now with Pathfinder 2e rules. So this will be interesting. 2e rules, we've seen how well they do work for CRPGs. I mean, as much as I make complaints about the two Pathfinder ones, Kingmaker and Wrath of Righteous, mechanically they work really well. I just thought the adaptations from those stories didn't always work as well. And, certain things with that end I had complaints about. But mechanically, they work pretty damn well. So, I'm interested to see where this group goes with it. It's supposed to be a top-down isometric CRPG.
I'm actually excited for this, because this will be the first, as far as I'm aware, Pathfinder 2e based game.
That's... You're right, because all the other ones are technically running for the other stuff. Kingmaker and Wrath of Righteous are running. Oh. Yeah. Huh. So, it'll at least show off using a 2e in a CRPG.
Yeah. Which I honestly think it'll be way better, because 2e for a CRPG is... I honestly think it'll just be way more manageable, especially since a lot of the, kind of nitty-gritty stuff in the rules, it's, you computerize that, man, it'd be way easier, because everything's super concise, and it's really easy to track, but it's like, okay, this condition gives me this, okay, but this condition also gives me this condition, so I have to go and look at this condition. Okay, this condition also gives me this condition, but this condition doesn't apply to this creature because it has this effect, and, yes. It's like, everything is concise and bounded in, its rule systems, and it's, really, clear and concise, but it can be a bit to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. It looks as though a dragon got killed, and a lot of people are, basically working on gathering resources from its body, and you and the party that you are having, as 4 characters you're going to have, are helping to guard this site.
Interesting.
While people work on the dragon corpse, harvest its, scales and meat and stuff like that. But there's also, ruins in the nearby area of the dragon's lair and stuff that probably may or may not have been fully explored. That's an interesting start for a storyline. So cool.
Yeah, just a prologue.
They have a Kickstarter for it.
Yes, so it's not started yet, but it's launching soon. So
I will give that link separately, just so that yes, it's both the links, just because it's convenient for me. So I'm nice.
It's my list of things I'm waiting for to see if I want.
Yeah, this one I definitely want to keep an eye out for, because as much as I honestly had a pretty good time with Kingmaker and Wrath of Righteous. Wrath of Righteous had some problems with the especially the mechanics on managing the crusade that you went on, the anti-demon crusade. Yeah. And then Kingmaker, I really kind of just like the time mechanics in that one and the end to a degree. Because they had always had a lot of player-based choices throughout it, and then the end had some stuff that your choices didn't matter for. I without spoiling anything. Basically, the end had a story point that you could not avoid no matter what. Which I kind of got annoyed at, because I'm up till now, I had all the choices that you gave me, and it's like, why are you taking this away from me? But other than that, I did like both those games. So this one, I might want to check it out too myself. But, keep it.
How dare you take away my illusion of choice?
I know. You give me this illusion, don't take it away. So we'll talk about some trading card games for a moment here, because we've got Rush of Ikorr, which is very interesting because it's going to be that is a heck of a link there on that one. Thanks, Tabletop Gaming News. Anyway, so apparently Rush of Ikorr is going to be a new TCG, but rather than being meant to be 1-on-1, it's meant to be 3-on-3. So this is very interesting because we haven't particularly heard of a TCG which is built around multiplayer. Like something like Magic can be played multiplayer. I think there's some other TCGs, CCGs that can be played multiplayer with specific rules and stuff like that. I can't remember all of the ones, like how they do them with some of these other ones. But I know, like, yes, Magic, 1-on-1 format for its base rules, you can play multiplayer. This one being built for
adaptation rules for it.
Yeah. This one being built on multiplayer, kind of interesting. But it does mean you need 6 people to play instead of 2.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, you think people who are into trading card games have friends?
It's that fact that it's kind of like that. I think that is just the fact of like you need more people to play makes me think be interested in how it looks, because it is supposed to be like a team-based game.
Yeah, no, the idea of a team, like,
yeah. So.
Yeah, so you have to coordinate efforts. It's cool. It actually adds a whole lot of variance. I mean, they could be very unique in the way they handle some things. I do just worry about the logistics of it, because like when you have to have, like, when in like tournaments, will people actually like have teams of 3, or will there be like single tournaments where you have to be paired with random people? That also kind of suck.
Yeah. I figure, like, less formal ones, it's probably paired with random people, but, like, for, like, if they would have bigger name tournaments, that would probably you bring in a team. Yeah. Theoretically. And it seems to be, from the cards and the appearance here, themed around, like, ancient mythology. Because there's...
Yeah.
Like, we can see some stuff from, like, Olympian stuff, Egyptian stuff, and one of them looks Mesoamerican. Mayan. So Egyptian, Mayan, Greek, and I'm not sure the 4. Because... Yes. Because they only show so many cards.
If I had to guess just by looking at it, I would say Norse.
That would make sense. That would make sense to get Norse. So, I mean, that does open up. There are lots of ancient mythologies and mythological areas throughout the world that could be more like decks and themes, so that is not a bad place to go to for inspiration. But again, I guess we're gonna have to see how this goes. It's an interesting idea. I think that's why I wanted to talk about it when I saw, like, oh, it's a 3 versus 3. This is kind of interesting. And it's supposed to be coming out in June 11th, I think, is the worldwide release. So. And Upper Decker, do you do anything like any other TCG stuff right now? Trading cards. They do a lot. Because Upper Decker is the sports card games, so they do actual games and stuff too, other than just the trading cards. So, but again, it's like one of those ones that when I think Upper Decker, I do think sports cards as the main thing before I think any kind of the games. So I don't know. I kind
of wish they said on the box what. I mean, they might on the back, but it doesn't say it on the box like what. Because they're called Pharaoh's Command, Olympian Thunder, which those two make sense. Moonlight Magic, which I assume is Mayan, and then the last one is Stunning Presence, which could be, I don't know, monsters. Or mythical monsters, or Norse, or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if just looking for or if anybody else talks. I'm just taking a look quickly at that. Yeah, those are the cards we've seen previewed. No, I'm not seeing anything else about the other things there. Huh? This is interesting. Okay, what's going on here with Polygon? What's this here? Okay. I'm hoping I'm not, like, hitting up on some kind of weird, secondary rabbit hole. Because at the end of the Polygon article about this, following the reveal of Rush for Court, Ravensburg, talk about them, noted that it had asked a judge for its current lawsuit to be dismissed. Why is this mentioned here? What lawsuit? I don't remember. What? Did they have a lawsuit against Upper Deck? Oh, what's this here? Okay, Ravensburg's the people that do Lorcana, and apparently they had a lawsuit against Upper Deck? That's where I'm remembering Ravensburg. They do the Lorcana game. This is in 2003. Why? I don't know. But apparently they had a lawsuit and they dropped it now as of the advancing of this thing. Is this related to this? Maybe.
Japanese! The last one's Japanese.
You finally discovered it. Great. That's a Japanese lore. Okay, that's a good book to do too. Start out with.
Yeah. Well, basically, I found a video of them talking about it, and they showed more cards than just there. And I saw one of them was Japanese, and it actually was the picture of the one on the box.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yamata no Orogoki.
Orochi.
Yeah. Orochi, yeah.
The eight-headed serpent of Japanese lore. They're Hydra, kind of thing.
Yep.
Which I think is
so
defeated.
that's what
they
that
get it
last
drunk to
is.
defeat it. Does it include a large thing of booze to get it drunk?
Sadly,
Well, I mean, like, probably like another card or something. Get the
that'd
card
be
of
hilarious, but yeah.
defeat it. Anyway, so that's cool. If you're interested in it, keep an eye on that. A 3x3 game. So here's interesting because I did this one not with the magic stuff as a topic to talk about, just because, or wizards, because it is really sort of a bridge to it. So TCG Player has a new partnership with Wizards. So they get the WPN badge next to the name of Verified Retail Stores, which is very interesting, because TCG Player is a very big reseller for, like, singles and stuff. So I didn't think they had a physical location to have that, like, special store badge or something. It's kind of interesting. Because, yeah. Okay.
What does WPN mean?
The WPN, let me get the full definition of it. I can kind of define it. It's like these,
Wizards Play Network.
Wizards Play Network. They're the, like, top tier, I guess, stores or something. They're the ones that get, like, some of the special promotions which normal stores don't get. I think we've talked a few things about, like, promos or special stuff that go to the WPN stores. Give these retailers powerful new tools to grow with. Okay. So it's interesting because it's, I'm seeing how this works here. Okay, so TCG Player has been a place where you could go to, and it's been a big thing for checking card prices and, like, you know, finding where you could sell cards at. So it's like if you wanted to go buy singles a lot more likely, or some other products, you could kind of go through TCG Player. It's this kind of, like, online thing. Now, they're able to basically say, like, these guys are the Wizard Play Network. You might want to check them out first. We're marking that in here. Ooh, look. These are Wizards loved. I I don't know why that's important to be on TCG Player, honestly. I guess it makes you know, like, which ones might have certain products. You know, it's meant to give a FLGS a bit of edge on the platform by providing buyer confidence that buying from a verified retailer with actual. Oh, okay. So
FLGS, like, by the way, stands for Friendly Local Game Store.
Yeah. Okay. It's like a WPN store is kind of like Wizards Guaranteed kind of store. So you should be expecting like it's consumer confidence. You know,
yeah.
If I see that next to a store, I know I'm not going to be swindled or have problems or something, but I'm not.
So, you know, you're not going to get knockoffs that won't be viable in a tournament.
Yeah. Or like it'd be damaged, like and they're like lying about how
it's condition
and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's interesting. I didn't actually have to worry about that in TCG Player because normally, like, most big places kind of. I guess they have a lot more nowadays than the last time I actually used them to buy singles. So maybe it's more intense now or something. It's interesting.
Who knows?
So yeah. Is it a... I think that's kind of one of those things of, like, it probably can only help people and make decisions on where to shop. So I think it's fine, you know?
Yep.
So, you know, if you'll see that now on TCG Player, upcoming. I guess the program starts this spring, so it'll be like next month or two. You'll start seeing that pop up there. A little bit more confidence. Okay. We got some RPG stuff related to talk about. So, I can switch over to that? I'm so getting to switch over.
I'm very curious about this rocket-propelled grenades.
RPG?
I always think of that when, you know...
I know, I've done that before.
Tabletop RPG. It's a rocket-propelled grenade you put on your tabletop.
So Daisuke Publishing, who are some of the people that are behind the TriStat system.
Daisuke.
Daisuke. They did the current edition of Bessum. They did Anime 5e. So they're partnering with Skybound Entertainment to develop Atttack the RPG. So it's based on the book series Atttack. It's set in a near-fused post-pandemic world where gene therapy has eliminated disease but led to the emergence of variants, people with unique ability, who face government oppression and denial of human rights. So very kind of like futuristic, semi-apocalyptic X-Men-y.
Yeah, I was about to say X-Men.
Yeah. But it's... X-Men's not the only one that's done that, so I'm not going to say it's just X-Men, but that's the one that comes to my mind with it. Yeah. That kind of plot for, like, you know, oppressed people. I don't know anything about the book series, but, you know, this kind of setting with people with unique powers works for RPGs. So, you know, it sounds like a good match, honestly. Post-apocalyptic things. So, let's see here. Yeah, Skybound apparently had does a lot more related to Atttack. There was a Japanese language live action drama series that they worked with. So that's interesting. But yes. It would be dual stat release. Featuring... Oh, okay. So they're going to be doing two different systems with it. Atttack, they will have rules for using the TriStat system, which Daisuke has been using, which is the system that's in Bessum. So I'm familiar with TriStat, at least in a closer terms. But they're also going to be doing Powered by the Apocalypse mechanics in there too. Because I guess it is an apocalyptic game, so that kind of fits too. So we've seen that before, where there's like a system that they're providing like two different versions of it. That's been a little bit more popular now, so it's like, you know, we can put our mechanics two different ways, pick a poison. I mean, like, we talk about the two different Lord of the Rings games done by Free League, because that's what they've done.
Yeah.
It's kind of be the same way this way. So that's kind of neat. The Kickstarter is going to go live in April, so you can probably check it out there on this comic for that. Cool. So keep an eye on if you're interested. I don't know anything about the book series. You might be a fan of it, and both the Powered by Apocalypse and Tristat are very good systems in their own right. So I'm interested. I actually am interested how the two different versions of this game would play then, because it's sort of like it actually is kind of like comparing it to the Lord of the Rings, because those two things are the 5e Lord of the Rings and then the own system that Free League has, which are very different systems, and kind of play differently then, So, kind of interesting. Anyway. So cool. Shall we move on here and talk about some stuff from Renegade? Because Renegade has given us 2 more books and which I'm actually happy about this, even though these aren't necessarily I don't mind either of these IPs, but I'm not a big fan of either of these IPs. Power Rangers or Transformers. I like Transformers. I liked Power Rangers back in the day. Am I a huge fan of either of them for a lot of the stuff they've done? I don't know. I watched some of the original Power Rangers series, and that's what it. And for Transformers, I've watched reruns here, and I got big into Beast Wars for a little while. That's my big thing. But so apparently they've got 2 new books here. The Through the Shattered Grid for Power Rangers is based upon. It looks like they're doing a lot of stuff based on the comics that they did. Which I know nothing about the comic books for Power Rangers, so don't ask me anything about that, but it seems like they're focusing stuff related to that, the Boom Universe stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I'm interested. I mean, I know some people who really like Transformers, and Power Rangers definitely holds a place in my heart from my childhood.
I like the original series. It has this, the original Power Rangers has some interesting camp, and the thing is, if you told me you wanted to try these out, I wouldn't be against them. Sentai stuff, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I like it, and the same as for Transformers. Kind of cool stuff there, too.
So I don't know why, but every now and then my brain goes to the dagger that was also a flute that was played through a helmet.
You're not wrong. Look, I do enjoy learning about the weird lore of adapting things. It's been a year since I've watched one of those videos, but they did those. Some people did those videos where they did the weird lore of adapting the original Japanese Sentai series to Power Rangers, and the weird things they kept and changed between the characters, and the weird stuff like that. That's interesting to me too. It's sort of how things evolved between the two of them and where they made it. That always is very interesting to me, because it's taking one property and making it into another, and it's just fascinating. Yeah. Apparently the book will also have non-ranger roles with Magna Defender and Guardian of Ikorr. I think I've heard the Magna Defender, but I don't know anything about him. It's new origins and stuff like that, so kind of interesting new stuff. And then the other one for Transformers, Technoganic Secrets, which is it's the Beast Wars. It's that's basically what the book is.
I mean. Yeah, that's actually cool. I like what are they called? The
Maximals?
The Dinobots.
Oh, the Dinobots, yeah. You can both do Dinobots and Maximals, and probably Predacon-based stuff too. So, I like Beast Wars a lot. I thought that was, pretty cool Transformers back in the day, so, I think that's very neat to check out there too. So yeah, both seem like very interesting books, adding a lot, and they are available now. So I'm glad they're continuing to put out books for these, and there is a lot in these kind of universes that when you show more love like this, it does also make me more maybe I should try this out sometime. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Honestly, I would not be against a Transformers. I wouldn't be against Power Rangers one either. I don't know very much about Transformers because I didn't watch Transformers growing up. I did watch Power Rangers though.
Yeah. Again, I think my big thing is, I think it was on late 90s Sci-Fi Channel, or early to late 90s Sci-Fi Channel, they still had reruns of the original Transformers on that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was like early Sci-Fi Channel kind of thing. So I watched a bunch of those on early Sci-Fi Channel. So I saw like the original like 80s Transformers during that time period. They are shows.
Yeah, and I liked. Actually, yeah, I didn't play as much, but I played a lot with Transformers toys. I loved those things.
Those were good. Yeah. I got a bunch of those Beast Wars because they were cool. All right.
I might have one. I don't know.
So we do have some more RPG news. And this is a weird one because, man, I would have loved Momo here to talk about this one, but we're going to talk about it without them. And that is, apparently, we're getting a Warhammer Horus Heresy the RPG. Taking a step back, if you're unaware, Horus Heresy was basically it's not Warhammer 40k, that's Warhammer 30k. This was the big event, well, I think 30k. Yeah, this is like the 10,000 years before where we are in the Warhammer universe. The big event that, like, shaped how Warhammer is. This is the Emperor who's on the throne in current Warhammer getting wounded. It's Horus trying to murder him and, like, overthrow him. That's the entire time that we're doing with this here. So it's a really interesting time period to have a role-playing game, and I think we've talked about on the show, there's like a bajillion books on this time period, too, and stuff like that. This is like the big storyline.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting.
Yeah, the whole Horus Heresy book series, also apparently, as he said, it's very hit or miss.
Yeah. So yeah, so I'm guessing, I'm not sure if you would take, like, they might have rules for being, like, part of the now corrupted Chaos Space Marines, or the Loyalists during the war here. I don't know. Certainly probably at least have rules for being Loyalists. They're loyal to the Emperor. So yeah, those that are going against Horus. But,
yeah, who knows? I mean, it's interesting, but I'm just like, yeah, well, I don't know enough about to know, like, what kind of plot lines they might go with. Who knows? Maybe I'll watch some. I don't honestly play very many of these games, but maybe I'll watch someone play it and learn the.
Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of questions about. It's like an interesting time period in this world to set things in for an RPG, but then it opens up a lot of questions on, what you're doing with it and the mythology of it. So, I don't know. They are not. They're taking pre-orders this summer, and the core book and starter set are set to release next year in spring. So we're not going to see this for an entire year, and they haven't talked about crowdfunding at all. So, do we have answers to anything here? Nope. But it's an interesting thing they've shown off to us that they're doing. Alright, so, we have one more RPG to talk about today before we got a couple of smaller topics afterwards. And that is, Free League Press is doing an Invincible RPG. So that's the comic/animated series that is... I know a little bit about it. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't seen it. So, it's a superhero-based thing. So we have superhero RPGs, but again, this one's based on the comic book and animated series that have had a lot of popularity. So it's a pretty decent property to make a superhero game based on. They have a launch page for Kickstarter. They'll be doing a core rulebook and starter set. Anything else in this article about it that we can say? Just check in. I think that's about all that we got on it, I guess, for now. they've announced their trailer. Okay. I know a little bit about this. I don't know a lot about this, so
I don't know a lot either.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about making it and stuff there. So I guess keep an eye out for when the Kickstarter goes live if you're interested in this one, and you should check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Free League does good games, so I can't say they're not going to do a good job. It's that kind of thing, you know. It's Free League. They've done licensed stuff before too. I mean, they brought us the Alien RPG and stuff like that, so and the Lord Birds. So I wanted to talk about this topic as we move on to our next one here, because I'm a fan of this game, and now we have the board game Action Returning. I remember that this board game existed. I didn't know it kind of fell apart. So apparently Steamforge Games has acquired the board game for Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know who did it the first time. I remember we talked about it coming out, which was interesting. Rainbow Six Siege, if you haven't played it, it's still going, but I haven't played it in a while. But it's basically first-person, team-based shooter video game, and they did a tactical board game with asymmetrical gameplay, where you're either an attacker or defender, very much so like the video game. And apparently they had a lot of operators across the core box expansions, but yeah, it looks as though Steamforge now has it and is reprinting it and extending its content. So, yeah. It's interesting because they acquired the IP for the Siege board game. Oh, it's just 6 Siege board game. I guess they call it 6 Siege board games so they don't have to use the Rainbow stuff because that's Tom Clancy. So they can basically have the stuff from Ubisoft without having the stuff down the line from Tom Clancy. I'm guessing.
Interesting.
So they only have to pay one person for half an IP. Because that's tricky. Because it doesn't say Rainbow Six Siege on the box. It says 6 Siege. And I'm guessing it's that kind of thing, you know. They're paying Ubisoft, they're not paying Tom Clancy's people. Or something like that. Weird about that.
Who is Tom Clancy?
Writer of political thrillers.
Oh.
Like military/political thrillers, you know.
So everything that's like Tom Clancy, is that just based in his universe or something?
Yes. Or like based on his writings or stuff like that. It is a mess.
Wait.
It's an American novelist. Apparently he did the Jack Ryan is one of the things he did there too.
I've actually read some of his Jack Ryan.
Yeah. So
yeah. Like The Hunt for Red October is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
That I've read.
So like the Rainbow Six series for video games. There's a lot more than just Siege. Ghost Recon was another one. And Splinter Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. He does do good, like, realistic political situations and stuff.
Yeah.
With a lot of... But, yeah. I just don't know why he's involved in some of these games. Like, Tom Clancy's, there's Rainbow Six, and there's also, isn't Tom Clancy also involved in Counter-Strike?
Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, The Division, are the big ones, it looks like. Like, Splinter Cell is interesting because it's kind of like based on that kind of thing that seems its own. Ghost Recon, I don't know how that connects up. At least it says that Rainbow Six is based on the novel of the same name for the original IP.
Okay, maybe I'm getting confused then. I'm just thinking of Rainbow Six and just got confused with Ghost Recon. I think Ghost Recon is what I was thinking of when I said Counter-Strike.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there is some basis for these games originally in the Tom Clancy stuff, but it's kind of become its own weird extended universe now of stuff that Ubisoft keeps making. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I actually like on Wikipedia. Tom Clancy's brand is used by video game company Ubisoft for several video games, some of which feature the works of American author Tom Clancy, while others do not.
Yeah, it's sort of like they all base it off of like the original stuff. They sometimes base a game off another game, which means it's no longer based off the Tom Clancy, so it's a weird whisper down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
Who's the guy from Splinter Cell? I'm not remembering. Crap. I remember the character's name. Sam Fisher. Because, like, Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell, he's in Rainbow Six Siege. He's a character you can play with in Rainbow Six Siege.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Fisher's just so it is an interconnected world of Tom Clancy universe, I guess, between these games. They're all set in the same universe, I think. I don't know. At least Splinter Cell is set in the same universe as Rainbow Six series, because I assume all the Rainbow Six ones are connected-ish. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, the board game, it's a tactical board game, miniatures-based one. But I guess it's the combination of what characters each side has, like what defenders you're taking, what attackers you're taking, because that's how it works in the video game. You know, certain matchups are going to have advantages, but it does also come down to like skill and luck and stuff too. But
yep.
you know, I choose this operator. His special ability just hard counters someone else's special abilities. It really helps. Yeah. So, anyway, so cool. I'm glad Steamforged got the game, is redoing it and stuff too. It's neat. I'm a fan of the video game. Don't play as much anymore, but I've played a lot. So, glad to see they're getting more. Okay.
Yep.
So this goes out to Joe. And why does this go out to Joe? This next topic here we're going to talk about? Because he had us do one of these. A How to Host a Murder.
Oh.
Many a year ago, when it was our big friend group, when we could actually get together, we'd do like some group vacations. We don't do them as much anymore because, you know, life and stuff like that. But anyway, we went to one, and he had us do a How to Host a Murder. It was a very silly one, because I think it was like a we were all like monsters secretly or something, and we didn't know what each other was, and we didn't figure out the murderer was. But so yeah, I've played one of these type of games. But anyway, these are basically a party game where you kind of play around and figure out. There are ways to play this that are very exaggerated, I will tell you. Like, you could go in costume to host a murder if you really want to.
Yeah,
do something like
I have heard of that.
But basically, each box contains a host guide, player manuals, sheet of secret clues, guest invitations, name tags, diagrams, and more. They're doing 4 classic ones, I guess they're bringing back, which are Waters Down Affair, Class of 54, Chicago Caper, and Saturday Night Cleaver. They're doing some licensed version stuff with major IPs. Cryptozoic connects with a lot of IPs, so that makes sense. So
Yeah.
if they do some ones like that, this is actually kind of cool. Like, having played one, they aren't something I would do very often, but they're pretty fun to do. I mean, we had a good time. It was kind of silly and weird. So having this kind of classic party game being brought back, I think so, maybe getting a little bit more updated versions, new licenses and stuff. It's kind of neat. Yeah. I don't know if I'd ever find enough people to do this ever in real life at this point in time.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could do this over like Discord or something. I don't know if it would work the same.
Maybe you might have to do video chat at least. But
Yeah, at least video chat probably. But you might still be able to do that on over online.
Mm-hmm. I think it'd be fun to do like a stream if you got enough people.
You could probably figure out a way to do it. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Pin that in the ideas that will probably never happen but are good.
You're right. There is a list like that has gone on. This is a great, interesting idea. Will it ever happen? Probably not.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's the same list that is Transformers and Power Rangers RPGs.
I think they're slightly higher on that list, but they are on that list. Yeah. It's easier to get me to do an RPG than it is to do like something like that.
Yeah.
Alright. Our final of our topics today, you can see why I didn't have any other big lot topics, is, hey, some more humble stuff. And this is by Modiphius and Alchemy. They're doing a collection that is to aid the California wildfire relief effort. That to the article about it, and I guess you can link to I'll link to the bundle too here. I'd like to see the article that's talking about too.
I wonder if I could just post something saying like to the California relief, to California relief, and just reaping the money because technically it would be relieving me, and I live in California now. That'd be really shady. I'd never do something like that. But
so it's a bunch of items that are for the Fallout role-playing game, the one that Modiphius does.
I thought you were going to say that Momo likes, because he does play it.
Momo does
He's
like
talked
that.
about a lot.
It seems to be a good use of the 2D system.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's also some of the stuff that allows you to play this on Alchemy, I guess. So, if you have Alchemy and want to play it on there, that's what that material is for.
Honestly, it's got a lot of decent stuff, it looks like.
Yeah.
You know, it got the core rulebook, obviously, and then it's got Game Masters, Wanderers, Settlers, a few adventures, some NPC packs, vaults, and Wasteland locales.
There's some map packs and stuff like that, too. Yeah. And the starters set if you want to check that out, too. So, yeah. So I guess this stuff is made to be played with Alchemy. So this is like the online stuff that you're particularly...
Oh, yeah, Alchemy, that one that I haven't looked into, but is definitely a thing.
Well, I know that Alchemy is very specific on the games that you can play on it. And I know Fallout is one of them. I think Alchemy also has like the Alien RPG. It is specifically for that. So I think it's a lot more... It has to be on Alchemy, I got the feeling of, but I didn't look into it very deeply.
Yeah, they have... I mean, what's interesting is they just say, as one of their ones... Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so basically... Oh, Says Peku is on here. I have stuff... That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have Free League stuff, Pathfinder... I'm just looking at their list right now. Yeah, Kobold Press, Modiphius, Call of Cthulhu, Pathfinder, World of Darkness, Free League. Basically, unless it's an obscure one, they probably have it.
And again, like, at minimum $18 will get you all this stuff. All 70 items. You can pay more, of course, as normal with a humble bundle. But yeah, if you want a whole bunch of stuff and to play Fallout RPG and you're going to use Alchemy, this is not a bad deal for $18 to have all the books and adventures and stuff like that. Again, this is all material that will be digitally for Alchemy, so just keep that in mind before you kind of support it if or get into it. Just keep that in mind. And as usual with Humble, remember to specify where the percentages go. Adjust the donations. Remember to do that.
Yeah. Because most of it just goes to Humble and the creators, and very little normally goes to the actual thing. And honestly, it's fair, I think. I always want to do custom amount, but Yeah.
But yeah, certainly speaking, you can move all the sliders and just give the relief a lot of percentage of it.
Yeah.
Probably want to give a little bit to alchemy. Just be nice, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually I split the I give the minimum amount to humble, and then I split the creator and the
relief. Yeah.
Relief, yeah.
Well, the charity. In this case, it's direct relief. So if you want to look into that charity, that's the one that's being supported by this. So hey, they do name the charity. Okay. Cool. Yay for charity. I hate the
company or I hate the charity, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
In both cases.
Shall we then move on to our week in tabletop, because we've gone through a lot. So hey, we didn't play Joe's game this week. I know, shocking, surprise. That's tomorrow for us.
Yeah.
So really have to be ready for that. Did you do anything on the early parts this week, Monday or Tuesday?
No.
I know on Wednesday we had another meeting where we figured out a lot of stuff. You helped me all figure out a lot of stuff for
some
Foundry
modules to install for Foundry,
setting up modules and stuff. So yeah, I figure my current plans are just to set up a few things. I'm basically going to kind of keep things a little loose, not quite as loose as I did with some of my old games, but basically kind of like a little bit in between what I did for setting up for like the Pathfinder games. Because the old first edition games, I set up a lot of stuff. I'm just going to set up like some stuff I can use and stuff that I'm planning on using, and then like again, because I don't know exactly where all the full story with you guys are going to go, I will keep things a little looser that way. I'll be ready with a couple options, but I won't have like I'm not going to prepare everything ahead of time and have to like stress myself out. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I have a way of preparing for stuff that is basically what are the things they might be getting into. And then, actually, what I really like, in fact, honestly, campaign organization should be a topic we talk about at some point. Session organization.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say, campaign organization I suck at. Session organization I love.
Yeah.
I need a better way to do the overarching stuff. I've been working on it, but I haven't gotten a solid system down yet.
Yeah.
Probably because I haven't run a lot recently.
I know. I definitely have been having that urge to run more and more over the past like couple of weeks, which I think has helped me to push to get the game started. Because there has been this kind of like I think with how everything was busy at the early part of the year, it kind of like just got me distracted from it. But now that things are not quite, but they're beginning to quiet down a little bit, that like little dark urge in my brain of like, man, I really want to run a game or something like that, it's kind of beginning to sneak in there again. I'm happy about that because it does inspire you to work on stuff.
Yep. No, and I'm kind of starting to feel that kick back in. Like, the holidays were... basically, I've been in a non-stop crunch at work since November. And I'm finally feeling like things are slowing down. I'm like, cool. I can probably start working on stuff again. I do, honestly, what's the hardest part about finding people to play on a stream game.
Yes, that is definitely a challenge. I keep thinking about reaching out to other people, but I think, like, the game I'm running now is not one that I would have found as easy people, because it is going to be... Granted, it's not going to be, like, as major a campaign as either of my last two, but it is going to be a little bit, like, it's not going to be a short campaign, I'm thinking of, like, I said, like, I was aiming between 20 and 25 sessions. That's not a short campaign. That is a campaign,
Yeah.
But I do also want to get into some, like, my short adventures of, like, 5-session adventures. And I do want to then maybe start reaching out to more and more people, especially in the streaming sphere. I know there's a lot of people that might be interested. Now I've been finding, like, seeing people, all types of streamers and, like, content creators. And I think I want to reach out. It's also I have to figure out the best way to do it. I'm not good at figuring that kind of stuff out. I'll figure it out. I'll maybe, like, get some advice about, like, where should I reach out to people from? Where do you think that's the best to talk to people at?
I've done it. Yeah, I kind of wish there was like a social media for just content creators. Wait, that's every social media. Never mind.
You can reach out on like Blue Sky or Twitter or /X or like that, or direct message on like Twitch is a thing too, or get in contact over Discord. I just don't know, or technically some people have email or something like that too. I just don't know the best things.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried reaching out to someone. In fact, I just remembered that someone who I reached out to in the past who never responded, I recently saw activity from recently, and I need to go check them out again. See if maybe I can reach out to them again.
So that was Wednesday. I don't think we did any tabletop sim this week. I think the big thing was I
was
played.
Supposed to say you guys did something on Thursday, but I don't know what that was.
We just ended up doing some more for the kid. We played through the normal campaign and beat it, and we started one of the other campaigns.
Got it.
Which I put up the difficulty too, which has been interesting to feel that and like they get a little bit harder difficulty. So it's been interesting to try out a little bit more. I'm honestly kind of sad because I never got this far on stream playing For the King. It kind of makes me sad. Like that. But always in the session.
I mean, yeah, it was just hard. Yeah, there's a lot of. I remember, like, it was me, you, and Tiv mostly.
Yeah.
But honestly, I just remember not liking it all that much. I think I might try it again and might be fine, but like, I just remember, like, for whatever reason.
There are a lot of issues with it that you have to kind of almost know the systems a little bit.
And that's kind of the thing, is I think at the time, like, that's why I have this vague vibe that I think I'd be okay with it, like, if I tried it again. But at the time, I think I just wasn't in the mood to, like, learn systems like that. Like, learn a system like that. I was in the mood to learn a trial and error system, because that's really what it was. It's like, you had to learn by failing. Because, like, basically, when you fail, you just die. In that game. Like, when you fail hard, you just die. So.
Yeah. Anyway, how did your session earlier today go? Because I don't think anything else this week. I certainly didn't.
Good. We fought a Gibbering Mouther. I got taken down to half my health by friendly fire. Because confusion. I'm the only one who was hit by an ally, though.
Oh, that's hey.
Yeah, it was a very weird encounter. So basically, to clarify a little bit, the last session we followed like some signs, and we found like signs about where a cave was, and we kind of got some indication that there were lights dragging people away. And basically, we had to fight at the same time a wisp and a gibbering mouther. Apparently, what we basically figured out was the wisp was luring people to the gibbering mouther for some reason.
Huh.
The will-o'-the-wisp, though, was a pain to fight because while we were able to... Well, one person was able to see invisibility and thus able to point it out. We were still attacking... It was invisible, which gave us a -4. Oh. Then you've got the fact that a wisp has a -8 AC, which, I mean, if you want to think about it in actual, like, D&D terms, you can think of that closer to a... what would that be? It's not an 18. I think that's like, because I think like a 10, it still is like base 10 is like average. Thus, I think that's almost like a 30 something, you know? Or 28 AC. Yeah, so that'd basically be a 28 AC. Then imagine like a -4 for attacking an invisible creature, so that bumps it up to like 32 equivalent AC. And then -4 because we had a bunch of melee combatants. For anyone attacking into range, making it a basically for me, a -30 or a 36 AC is basically what I was attacking as a level 2 thief. Well, gross. Because the only other thing I had was this is AD&D, so as a spellcaster, I have 3 spells. I had already used 1, and my last one I had prepared was Detect Magic. Because I don't know why I thought that would be useful, but apparently I'm not preparing it ever again until I'm like higher level because it's just more the issue is that it's a lot of people at higher levels will just include one. meaning other people had it, and I shouldn't have included it as my limited slots.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Because that's the thing is levels aren't even in this version. We started at level 2, the equivalent of level 3. Basically 5,000 experience, but I was level 2 because I was splitting it between 2 classes.
The multi-classing of ancient days.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, we ended up killing the stuff. It was a pain. Basically, the high level fighters had to hit it. They were like the only ones who could hit it. And then we left, and then we found out that, and then like things seemed like calm, like we were gonna leave, and then the one person was visiting the local druid grove, which is, I mean, we're actually at his birthplace, so he was like where he was raised. Ooh. So he was just like visiting his old grove where he grew up, and that's kind of what led to this. But then something we found out last time is we were like, oh, okay, the druids at the grove are all the arch druids are gone. What's going on here? But I didn't realize this would lead into a plot. I thought it was just something else was going on. It's just a way for the GM. But no, apparently it's all like one of the druids came back and was like injured. One of the arch druids came back and was like horribly injured and was like, yes, this other thing. There's this darkness in this forest over here. It hurt us, you know. It killed all the arch druids, and he's all like, when he's like, oh, you have friends who aren't druids? That might be better because so basically what we found out is druidic magic in this forest, in this evil forest, is tainted. Like if you summon a creature, it won't be allied to you. If you try and like use a druid magic to like, you know, talk to plants, it might lie to you, you know, like stuff like that. So basically, because it was a party of druids going in, they got destroyed because all their druidic magic flipped on them. So now we're like, okay, we'll go and see if we can't help.
You can rescue them. Well, what's left?
And we ended at a village a bit a ways from the forest. Yeah. So.
Sounds like an interesting adventure. Cool.
So yeah, that went into something which was interesting. I liked the kind of foreshadowing that I didn't realize was going to be this soon of foreshadowing, but it's interesting.
Yeah, you didn't see that foreshadowing happen, and when it did, it was interesting. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Alright, I guess that finishes up our week in gaming this week. Unless there's something else that you did. I think I talked about everything that happened this week. It was a pretty quiet week, so hopefully we'll get a little more. We'll have Joe's game next week to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, besides spending far too much time prepping my character, I also need to change up some spells, because I went and like looked through my spells. You know, and figured out some new stuff, so.
Mm-hmm.
I assume we're still going to meet up next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think I'll keep it. I think I'll just say like we'll meet again next week, but I'll push off running it for one more week. So we'll start on the 12th.
Yeah, something like that.
Plan for the first session as well. Because honestly, I'm probably not gonna have quite a fancy like overlay as I've had. I'm probably gonna mostly just have Foundry up, which is a little bit of stuff. And I was considering maybe, do I want to just keep it also simple with like little foodies at the bottom instead of like that, so we see who talks or something?
I mean,
I've seen a lot of people do that in RPGs nowadays.
I have too. That's a way to do it. I mean,
it is a way to do it.
In my opinion, if you're not like, funny enough, I was planning on doing something like that if I ever did it. If I did RPGs,
I don't get everybody on camera ever. So
I was about to say, unless you can get everyone on camera, and that's the big thing. Like,
I could just have
weird just to have like 2 people on camera. But then again, you have me, Joe. It would be Tiv. Tiv, I don't think normally does camera.
Yeah. But maybe this is a good chance to experiment with that too.
Yeah. I mean, ask Tiv if he'll do camera. If not, I don't remember if he does or not. I don't remember. It's been a while. But if not, then maybe the Fujitech is a good idea. So
But
I'd ask him about that because Joe and I would. So
I'll chat about that too. Well, again, like also, then I don't have to like figure out some kind of complex overlay or something too. The difference too. If I'm not using camera as much,
yeah.
That's the difference too.
I definitely would agree though to have the Fujitech thing because personally I think it's just nice to have like an indication. Like that is the one thing I dislike about. I've talked about Ald's stream, but when I watched it beforehand, it was a pain to figure out who was who, especially since he has a cast of like 8 players, and like you have everyone talking and stuff, and it's like there's no indication of who's talking, so you can't get used to whose voice is who, except for the little intro at the beginning of like I'm this person, that we do every time. But
yeah, it's the in a way, the lack of people in that kind of hurt, or the lack of connection there hurts, And I think that's something that actually, like, I was noting when we were doing stuff with, like, Crimson Queen and 2. It wasn't always easy to tell who was speaking, even with, like, the little things that glowed or something around people. Just the way that I framed the video and stuff like that. Even though, like, even when you're not have Discord, the thing in the middle of Discord glows a little bit when you're speaking. That's always not noticeable over the background of that in Discord,
Yeah, especially because you have the background, the border, which sometimes cuts out that a bit.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a mess that we're into mixing up stuff. All right. So, everybody, thank you for joining us today. Thank you once again, Worm, for joining me. Can you give your shout-outs and stuff?
Yeah, I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and DiamondWyrm on Blue Sky. Next stream will be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. PDT. I also have a YouTube, which is honestly you can find by searching DiamondWyrm. I haven't noticed anyone else with that name, but at the same time, also, I can't actually solidify that name until I have a certain number of viewers. It's a weird thing. Or sorry,
cool.
I think it's subscribers, but yeah.
Oh yeah, subscribers for YouTube. Yes. Cool. Yeah. Myself, Dracovin. I should be back next week. I'm gonna figure out the schedule. Theoretically Tuesday, though depending on how things go over the rest of this weekend, and Monday. I'm gonna be busy tomorrow too, other than Joe's game, and then Monday, depending on that, I might take Tuesday off. If not, I'll be back for some gaming on that day, and then tabletop stuff live on Wednesdays, Thursdays, more gaming on Friday. Gaming together with Worm and Blaze over on Friday evening, and of course, this show next week. So check all that stuff out. Everything goes up on the YouTube side if you're watching this live. All the tabletop stuff does. And if you're over on there on that YouTube side, hey, do all the things on YouTube. Get that support there. I'll go to subscribe. Anyway, alright. We're going to get going. Thank you for joining us once again. And until the next time, I bid all of you out there deep, wonderful farewell and goodbye.